meeting to order, the Board of Franklin County Commissioners, Wednesday, August 17th, 2022. It's 8:30. Roll call.
Commissioner Sotomayor?
Present.
Commissioner Harris?
Present.
Chair Dunn?
Present.
Vice Chair Dickinson?
Present.
Commissioner Waymire?
Present. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for an invocation.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, for all.
Morning.
Good morning. Hi, guys. My name is Madeline, and I'm on staff at Hope Anthem Church. And I have the honor and privilege to pray over you guys today and share a short leadership thought. So the leadership thought that I wanted to share today is a great leader doesn't run from high expectations. 2 Peter 1:3 says, His divine power has given us everything we need for a godly life through our knowledge of Him who has called us by His glory and goodness. We don't feel a lack when we know God is with us. He has placed what we need on the inside of us. He's the keeper of our calling, and He will help us carry it out. Let's pray. Jesus, thank you for your presence in this room right now. Help us to be wise in our decision-making, thorough in planning, and to do all things in love. We lift you up in all that we say and do. All the glory belongs to you, Jesus. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Derek, any correspondence?
No, sir.
No public comment. Consent agenda, we just have one item, claim vouchers, in the amount of $1,291,645.01.
You also have your minutes from last week.
And the minutes for August 10th, 2022 meeting.
Move to approve the consent agenda?
Second?
Commissioner Sotomayor?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson? Commissioner Waymire?
Yes.
Chair Dunn?
Yes. Okay, Dustin, hope you're all well and ready to go. We've been waiting for this for a long time.
Have you? All right. Well, you and me both. The first thing I have for you this morning is approval of our fiscal year 22 adult fourth quarter budget adjustment. These are things that we have to do from time to time when we have used funds in excess of what we budgeted for the quarter. So for the fourth quarter of fiscal year 22, we need to adjust our budget by a total of $11,002.19. The attached budget adjustment report shows in which line items we're moving money from and moving money to. This item was reviewed and approved by the advisory board yesterday at their meeting, so I will stand for any questions you all might have.
Any questions, Dustin? Pretty straightforward. Motion would be, in support of this item would read, I make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2022 adult fourth quarter budget adjustment. So move.
Second?
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yeah.
Commissioner Waymire?
Yes.
Commissioner Sotomayor?
Yes.
Chair Dunn?
Yes.
And the second thing I have for you today is I wanted to discuss our increase in grant funding from KDOC for this fiscal year. We received two amounts, one on the adult side in the amount of $137,352.69, and on the juvenile side, $175,878.94. That's in addition to what we received last fiscal year for our block grants. Those amounts were specifically aimed at increasing community corrections salaries statewide. And so I just wanted to have a discussion today on what we did with those, how we came to some amounts, and how that looks going forward.
And Dustin, you might point out that we've already done this in 2022, correct?
Correct, we did. We received some other funds in fiscal year 2022. Those were what we implemented as one-time increases. as kind of making up for where salaries should have been. KDOC worked with the Association of Community Corrections Agencies statewide and found that community corrections employees statewide are really under the market value on what our salaries are. So KDOC was able to, in working with the legislature, get us some additional funding in fiscal year 22, and we did allocate that money to our staff as a one-time increase in 22.
My point being, if this sounds familiar, it's because it is. We did it in 22, but this is for 23 with an increased amount.
Yep.
So go ahead, Dustin.
No, you're right on the ball there. The one-time increase that we did in fiscal year 22 was just that, a one-time increase. What we're doing for fiscal year 23, on the other hand, is we have raised the pay for each of our employees. And we have used these funds as much as we can to implement that. So when we budgeted for our fiscal year 23 budget, what we were budgeting for expenses and operating costs stayed about the same, but our budget for salaries and benefits went way up. And so we have really increased our salaries for our staff to compete now with the market. And we are right there with court services. We are right there with community corrections agencies statewide. And we feel like we are in a really good place going forward as far as, pardon me, employee retention, as far as just what our pay is to attract new employees. So what this resulted in is about a $5 increase an hour for each of our staff in community corrections. So.
And to be clear, and you may be getting to this, but this money cannot be used for anything else, correct?
Correct. There is wording from the governor when she submitted her budget that the additional funding, and I'm reading directly from here, the additional funding will be used to increase salaries for community corrections staff. And that wording is what KDOC used and implemented when they allocated the money to each of our agencies. And so we were given specific directions that that is how we have to use this specific amount of money, which is why I outlined those amounts for you at the beginning, because that's the amount of money we have to use for salary increases specifically.
And I believe it was Commissioner Dickinson that asked this question last time, and it was a great question. It's a fine distinction, but you can't add positions with it. This is to supplement existing positions and their pay, correct?
Yep, that is it. We are not allowed to add staff with that funding. So this is specifically targeted at getting our salaries up to where that market value is. If we were to add more positions, it has to come from another pool of money. And so, like I said, we budgeted for our normal operating expenses with what we had, and this extra money is just going to the salary increases for our current staff.
And Dustin's done a great job of keeping me in the loop on this, and we worked together to figure out how to allocate this. But our options were to not take it at all, but that would have been silly because obviously it's money from the state. But I know the five of you know this, but for anyone listening, I want to be crystal clear that these aren't Franklin County tax dollars that the Board of County Commissioners are using to give a $5 an hour raise to community corrections. This is money directly from the state of Kansas that we would have been fools not to take. So Dustin's doing great, but I just want to really hammer that home. This is straight from the state of Kansas.
Absolutely. And on top of that, the legislature and the governor approved a 5% raise for all state employees in the legislative session as well. And so court services officers got a big bump last year, and they're getting another 5% raise this year. And so without doing something like this, we would fall farther and farther behind what our market value is. So the timing was right for us to do this. We worked hard on getting to the numbers that we got to for our staff, and I think that we landed in a really good spot. So it's a lot to take in. It's a big change for us, and I'm happy to answer any questions you all might have.
So how are you staff-wise now? Are you still needing?
We
or-
technically have one vacancy that we have not filled, but we've had that open for a couple of years, and we're running with the staff that we have now. The staff that we have is a good level, yeah. I would love to have that additional position filled, but talking about staffing levels and working with the budget that we have, we're working on some strategies on how to get that last position filled, but we're good where we are.
That's good.
It is good.
Hardly anybody can say that, so.
Yes, it is good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Any other discussion?
The only other thing is, so this is grant, right? Grant money, so.
Yes.
It's coming from the state, you never know what happens.
Right.
You just gotta just take it year by year and keep your fingers crossed.
That's correct, and I run projections for at least 5 or 6 fiscal years out to see how those salary and benefits will increase over time. And as long as the money keeps coming in, then this is sustainable. If that doesn't keep coming in at that same amount, then we'll have decisions to make. But for the next few fiscal years, if this is the amount that we get, then we can sustain this, absolutely.
And certainly, as part of our discussions, I've told him that if that money does not come in, that Franklin County's not gonna be in the immediate position where we can find $5 an hour for each of his employees. So we both understand that this is predicated on the legislature keeping that money in place.
Okay, this is informational only for us. We don't need to make any recommendations. Congratulations that
Yes, thank you.
you're doing well now and you got the proper funding for the
Absolutely, we're excited for it.
correction.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Dustin. Okay, we're ready for staff reports, Derek.
Yeah, I don't have anything today, Roy, thanks.
Paul, you want to come up, tell us anything? Haven't seen you for a while. Okay. How about the sheriff? Something's going on, surely in this county, with the sheriff.
Good morning. I do have a couple things. This week, our staff's been dealing with a couple issues that we've had to kind of deal with backwards. By that, I mean, those things have come to our attention through either a complaint that was made to county administration or a complaint that was made to a commissioner, and we were contacted about it. I would just remind the public that if there's something going on, we have a dispatch center, and if you call them, we can get somebody there right away, and we don't have to worry about it. Trying to pick up the pieces and go backwards on that. So I know each of you are going to get phone calls, and you should. That's why you're in your position to hear from the public. But that's why we have a dispatch center and why we have people out on patrol. So if we could get the call when things are going on, we have a whole lot better opportunity to handle those situations up front. But it's difficult for us to properly deal with anything that we don't know is going on. So that's the first thing. The second thing is yesterday we hosted training from KLETC. It was the Kansas Law Enforcement Accreditation Program training for accreditation managers. We had 3 from our office that attended that, and also some people from Lawrence came down for that training. So we have officially entered the self-assessment phase on the accreditation program. The reason that we are going through the state accreditation is not because we want a certificate on the wall or a fancy sticker or anything, but we believe that this is a good program that is going to help us to raise our level of professionalism in the service that we provide. We looked at the program. We think this is the best way for us to do that. And so that's why we're in that. But it is out on state websites that we are in the self-assessment phase, and we are what they call a beta agency because we're one of the first group of agencies that are going through this program. So I just wanted to let each of you know that. Our accreditation manager is under Sheriff Laswell, and so if you have any questions about the program at all or what it is that we're doing exactly and how we're implementing these things, you can talk to either Kyle or myself, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. So that's all I have for you, unless you have questions for me.
Resource officer down at Central Heights now?
Yes, we do have our SRO down there. Corporal Vega is down there at Central Heights. If you are on TikTok or Facebook, you may have seen some videos where he's showing off his fancy dance moves there in the school, and he's fitting in pretty well with the kids. And the staff down there has provided great feedback for us. And on the first day of school, we also had Safety Pup. It's someone that we put in a little mascot costume that was down there also to help greet the kids to school, and all those things were well received. So so far, everything's going good down there. So yeah, we appreciate that.
It did. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Dustin, do you have anything? Kyle, any more? David?
I don't have a whole lot today. I just want to update you. We've got crews working on a ditching project on Jackson Road between Highway 59 and Eisenhower, hoping to have that completed by the end of the week. We've also improved a couple of bridge approaches and cleaned off several bridge decks up in the northwest portion of the county. Been kind of trying to do that all over. We also discovered a problem on a crossroad tube on Marshall, east of town. It's a large specialty tube. We've got that ordered and hope to have it installed and hopefully by the end of this week, early next week. That is a road that's going to be chip sealed, so we're trying to get it done ahead of that. Vance Brothers is going to be in Richmond on the 29th they're going to do a double chip seal on North Street there in Richmond. Once they get done with that project, they're going to transition to taking care of our chip seal project. So that started that last week in August. On Thursday, tomorrow I'll be participating in a KDOT webinar on their cost share program. It's one of the funding programs that I'm researching, trying to find funding for Old 50. Hopefully I'll know a little bit more about that after the webinar. It's got $1.5 million max on projects and requires up to a 15 or at least a 15% match from the county level. If we were to apply that to Old 50, we're going to match well over 15% in order to get the project done, which might make us a little more attractive for that funding option. So I continue to look for funding programs for bridges and our road projects as well. And lastly, KDOT has come out, they've updated their project list, and they have moved one of the K33 projects from their development pipeline up to their construction pipeline. And so they have the section from Shawnee to Pendleton, which is just south of where the railroad bridge is. That section of road, they are going to, it's out of design, and they've allocated dollars to this project, so it will get constructed. Timeline, I don't know, but I would guess in the next few years. That's going to involve replacing the bridge over I-35 and improving the roadway from Shawnee to Pendleton. That's about a $10 million project that they've got underway there. And then the portion from 6th Street in Wellsville all the way to 56 Highway, that remains in the development pipeline, and they're going to reconstruct that road, widen the shoulders. That's about a $12 million project, but they don't have funding assigned to it yet. It's still in call it the design phase, if you will. The section in between from Pendleton to 6th, the railroad bridge, that's already in the construction phase. It's under construction. And so that will get done eventually. I'm not sure what the status of that project is currently. One other project of note, it doesn't come into Franklin County, but it comes up to our county line. KDOT is improving 169 from the Allen County line through Anderson County up to the Franklin County line. They're going to add passing lanes. That is also in the development pipeline. So they're gathering survey data and doing the design work. And they've got a $37 million price tag on that, so that's pretty pricey to go that length. I'm not sure how many miles that is, but so 169 through Anderson County will have passing lanes at some point. And I would assume that someday they will continue that north, and that little bit of section through Franklin County might get some attention as well. And that's all I have for today.
David, I think all of us got an email about the intersection on south on 59 where the site was limited because of trees or brush growing, and I didn't know if.
So we got an email from a citizen that was concerned about the site distance along 59 from that intersection. That Highway 59 is purely state controlled.
they have maintenance responsibilities on that. And so the next day I reached out to the folks, our contact with KDOT, and they were able to take care of that within a few days. And we got a thank you from the citizen, and I've reached out to the KDOT representative and let them know that it was very much appreciated that they took care of that.
We're starting to get a problem there at Sand Creek and 59 going north that, you're going, west on Sand Creek to 59 and trying to look south for the traffic coming north on 59.
You're talking about
brush.
old 59, right?
Old 59, yeah. It's starting to get hard to see south without getting pretty much out into the lane of traffic.
Yeah, we can take a look at that.
Any other questions, David? Janet?
Just one quick note for you guys. We are not doing any recounts. We were not included in any of the recounts for the election. And so we are wrapping up all of our reporting and gonna put this election to bed and be getting ready for the general. So just want to let you guys know that.
Good deal. Okay, commissioners, do we have anything, Don?
Nothing to report.
I got nothing, right? Cole, Diane?
I had forgotten that last week I was going to report that the city of Ottawa, not this last week, but the week before at their study session, approved a contract with the gas service to extend the gas out to Proximity Park. It'll get it to the park. It won't get it all the way around the park, but it'll at least get it there. They don't usually do that because they call it, if they don't actually have something there. But then when they start getting, when we get the business out there, they start paying for their gas, they're going to share that. 25% of that will go back to the city for their part of that, what they're going to pay to put into that. Last Friday, we had a chamber coffee to introduce the new leadership class. And one of our sheriff gentlemen, detective, I'm going to try it, Hargesheimer, pretty close anyway, Hargesheimer, is going to be part of this class. It looks like it's actually a very good class, so be exciting to see what they can do moving forward. And then last night, there was an after-hours chamber coffee at On Q, which is in the 100 block of North Main. It is a pool hall and a bar, but if you go in there, it's way bigger than you think it was. It's really actually family oriented. They also have some other games and things in there. So anyway, it's nice to see not an empty space on Main Street. So, and that's all I have.
Cool, good. I went to ECAM meeting last night. They got a new brochure out. ECAM's in 16 counties, and doing a lot of good trying to help people in need, help people struggling with either housing or poverty and that sort of thing. And we discussed quite a few procedural things, but the main thing was in the Head Start program, they're trying to get more video cameras and that sort of thing in their classrooms and stuff to just kind of monitor not only the kids but the teachers and how they're performing. And that's about it for my ECAN report. We're going to have a executive session now. Eric, who do you want to do that session?
Yeah, I need a motion for an executive session to discuss a legally privileged matter pursuant to the COMA exception, allowing for privileged communications between the county commissioners and the county councilor. That'll be 15 minutes with the Board of County Commissioners and myself.
Any motion?
Make a motion to that effect?
Second. All those in favor, say yes.
Aye.
9:08, no decisions are made. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All we're adjourned.